Hi friends, welcome back to the frequently asked questions, as in frequently asked within the last month video series. I'm wearing the same thing. I recorded this all on the same day because I kept getting all the same questions. It's just easier to answer them all at once. I just broke them up into separate videos. When you order embroidery designs from me, you'll notice that there is a PDF that comes with it. This PDF is a color map of all the things that happen within the file, breaking them down into steps. But I've gotten a lot of questions about how to interpret what you're seeing on that PDF. What do all these words mean? Why are there these colors? Do I need those colors? So many questions. So we're gonna go over it together right now. And if you have any questions after this video, please leave them down in the comments below. If you're new here, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to our videos. Yeah guys, this is gonna be a great video series. So let's get right into it now, shall we? Okay, so as promised, we're going to talk about the PDF that comes with your embroidery design when you order from me. Let's talk about it. I went ahead and opened up, for example, the Purple Power Girl Felty. She's new to our store, so let's go ahead and go over what does all this mean. I've had a lot of messages from people wondering how to use this, and we need to talk about colors and steps and what does this mean, because it's starting to confuse people. So let's clarify. So to start off, let's go ahead and just look at all the things that we see in this PDF and identify them for what they are. So the first thing is this is the title. Okay, so this is what the file is. Very straightforward, very obvious. The next thing, I'm gonna go ahead and change the color so we can keep track of what I'm doing. The next thing is, this is a single felty that is the reference. It's always gonna be a single one. So whenever you see something, just always know this will apply to whatever you're doing. Step one will always be the same, whether you're working on a single, a 4x4 sorted, a 6x10. Step one's always going to do the same thing, just in multiples. She is 7,547 stitches. That's how many stitches it's going to take to make this one felty file. She has 9 colors, meaning there's going to be 9 color changes. So let's go ahead and just for reference write that out. It's actually color changes. Okay, this is color changes. We're talking about color changes, not necessarily that you will need 9 colors. These are 9 color changes, and this right here has been very confusing to folks. This doesn't mean that you also need 8 needles in order to make this felty. Pretty much this is a reference for people who have commercial machines. It doesn't mean that you need to make sure you have 8 needles that you need to interchange during your project. If you don't have, if this is for commercial reference, let me put this reference for commercial machine users only. Okay, if you are not a commercial machine owner, this does not apply to you and you can skip it altogether. This means nada, nothing to you. Okay, nothing. You don't care about that. You care about this little one right here. You care about how many color changes you need. Color changes. You care about color changes. All right, so let's move on. Now we have, again, I'm going to go ahead and switch up my colors here. These you all see are colors. So let me go ahead and just myth bust real quick. This doesn't mean you need every single one of these colors available for you in thread form. Okay? Think of colors equal to steps. Oops, sorry. Colors are equal to steps, okay? That's how we're gonna do it. Colors equal steps. That's what you need to know, okay? Colors are equal to steps. Each one of these colors, all of them, every single one of these is a step. And sometimes the step does match the color, okay, but it's really irrelevant. Please do not get hung up on the fact that this says step 2 says daffodil, okay? No, it doesn't matter. You don't need to have yellow to complete this step. Not a thing. It's just that when you're designing and you're making files on the back end, it's to let the machine know that it's a different step. So in order to have a placement step, I make it as red in this instance because I want the machine to understand that step 1 is red. Again, colors equal steps. Okay, and that's how the machine does it. Depending on how many number of threads there are, it equates it to number of steps. So it doesn't necessarily need to be red. You can use whatever the hell you want. Nobody's gonna see it. It's a placement stitch. So let's go ahead and change this to maybe get a color that matches better. All right, again, so step 1 is red. So again, step 1 is red. So that means red is step 1. Okay, red, step 1. And that's typically, when you're looking at mine, it's going to be a placement stitch. I'm gonna go ahead and placement stitch. That's what this is. Let me go ahead and make it a little smaller. Ooh, it's too small. I'm gonna change the color to help with the reference. Okay. Step 1 is a placement stitch, as you can see, which, let's zoom in. Let's get real close so you guys can see, because it's really hard to see occasionally when we're trying to do these things. Exactly what we're looking at. Let's see. Is it a click and drag? No, it is not. Let's see. Alright, let's get it. Here's good. Do you see this faint, and let me get my highlighter back out. Do you see this faint black line? Do you see it? Do you see it, my friends? That is what is going to be stitched out into step 1. Like we just said. That's how you know. That's how you can tell. That's awful. Let's do it this way. That's how you can tell what's going to be stitched out as step 1, which is equal to red. It's going to be the placement stitch. When you notice as we move on to step 2, same thing. Let me get my highlighter out. You'll see the same exact stitch that you saw in step 1 in step 2. This is for those of you who like to tack down. Let's type it out. This is a tack down stitch. Okay. Let's select all that and change it so we can keep it all the same. Tack down stitch. This is optional. Let me include that here. This is optional. Okay. This is for those of you who prefer it. Okay. Tack downs. Oh, come on. You would be very fussy. Okay. Tack down stitch. Optional. Operative word being optional. Okay. Some people like to secure the felt with a tack down stitch onto their stabilizer. Personally, I do not do this step, but I know there's some people who do use it, so I do include it. I don't do step 2. It's optional. I instead move on to step 3. So now we can see, let's look at it. It's a little different now. See, this black is what's going to stitch out on step 3, which is vapor, which is white, which pretty much is the whites of her eyes. So if you move over here, it's the white, actually it's this white of the eye. The underside of the eye is white, and you'll notice, you'll see colors come up again. So like I said, this doesn't mean you need to have 9 colors. Okay, it means it's 9 steps. That's how many steps there are in this file. When we move on, let me get my highlighter back out. Look at this. Oh goodness. We're right here. These are the purples of her eyes, which is going to be step 4. Step 4, which is this purple of her eyes. So her irises are purple. That's step 4. Step 5 is going to be the blacks of her eye, as well as the black stitching also around her eye, is step 5, which you don't even need to pay attention necessarily to what these colors are called. In some instances you do if you want to stay true to the colors that you see on what you buy. So for instance, if you want to make exactly what I did, yes, right, this is going to be black. But let's just say you wanted to have some type of creativity for yourself and you didn't want her eyes to be purple, you wanted them to be green. You would go ahead and on step 4, just make sure you put green thread instead of purple. It's not a big deal. The fact that I wrote light purple here doesn't mean it's set in stone and you have to do exactly what I did. This is where your creativity will come into place. Moving on. Step 6 is going to be the whites of her eyes. And as you notice, we already did white. But like I said, each step needs to be assigned a color in order to be recognized as a different step on your machine. So it's this white of her eyes, the very middle. And then, as you can see, what is outlined in black is going to be all her hair. All her hair, let's get all that hair, is step 7. All her hair, which I have identified as being light blue. But like I said, you could change it to any color. If you want her hair to be orange, at this point, you would just put orange thread onto your machine instead of light blue. But for the sake of argument, light blue is just what we're calling step 7. It doesn't matter. The colors that are assigned here don't matter. You can put whatever you want on your machine. It doesn't matter. Just because you don't have light blue doesn't mean the design's going to be wrong. It just really doesn't matter. And then lastly, here on step 8 is our outlines of the face. Okay. Step 8. And it's these little details, so it's like the outlining of her face, her smile, and then these little accents around her face. And then for the very end, this is important. Step 9. This is going to be our finishing stitch, because up until this point, we did not have anything but our top sheet of felt. So this is going to be the finish. Right, finishing stitches. So this is when we make, if you have watched my videos before, this is where we secure our felty sandwich. This is where the sandwich comes into play. We will pause. Let me change the color. Let me change it. All right, at this point, you will stop, okay? Between the finishing stitches and the rest of the design, you will stop, and at this point is when you will add the felt to the back of the hoop, and then the finishing stitches will sew the front to the back together, and it'll look nice and polished, and you won't see all the ugly bobbin thread that was stitched out when we did all these other steps. It hides the ugly. Okay, we gotta hide the ugly stitching, and we do that there, and then that's the whole thing. Another thing that I was asked is the finishing stitching always the last step? No. The answer is no. It is either the last step or steps, which is why you need to start to learn how to recognize how felties are made. Pretty much the end of a felty design, which is felty stitches, will make the entire outline. The whole outline will outline the entire felty, so the very most outer edges. Okay. If you have a design that has multiple colors, so for instance, if this is Santa and his hat is red and white and his beard is also white, you will have some differences. Let me go ahead and bring him up for you so I can show you. Let's talk about Santa. All right, Santa, this is also the outline for Santa. I'm not going to go over all the same other things that we did with Santa. I'm going to focus on how to identify where the finishing stitches are. As you can tell, let's make it something really obvious. this is the outline for Santa, right? The whole outer edging of Santa, the outline, the silhouette of Santa, his very essence is the outside. This is broken up into two colors, as you can tell, right? He has a red hat, he's got his white fur, and he's got his beard. And if you notice, the outline is in two different colors, which would be the white to outline his hat and his beard, and then also the red to outline his hat. So this is one of the instances where it's not one single color that's going to finish off your design. And as we can see here, step 5 has the red that will outline his hat and a white that will outline his beard, which will together between the two of them, let's change this so we can stay a little consistent. Between the two of these, they will make an entire outline of Santa. So in this instance, you would actually need your breaking point here to stop, and this add your felt would be here. You'll just need to learn how to recognize where these spots are, and the more you do it, the more you'll understand what it is. So these two, let's go back, get a color. These two steps, 5 and 6, are actually the finishing stitches. Which make up 2 whole steps. So it's not always the last step, but it is most definitely what happens at the very end. And it could be more than 2 steps. So don't take this as gospel. It's not always 1, it's not always 2. There could be more depending on how complex the design is and how it was designed for you to stitch out. Again, if you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments below. I am going to continue with our frequently asked questions videos. Other fun things that you can learn about my PDFs are as follows. When you open it up into Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Reader, whatever it is that you have, they actually have live links. So let's look at it as a whole page. Up at the top, if you click it, it'll take you directly to my Etsy shop, where you can go ahead and purchase more, or perhaps see pictures of the designs you bought. If you're trying to look for a reference for colors or kind of see what I did with it, you can do that. Or also at the very bottom, it says visit me on YouTube by clicking here. Click it, it'll take you straight to YouTube where you can watch all of the videos that I have, or perhaps take a second, look at a video, you have a question, go ahead and comment on that video, and maybe your question will be answered on the next frequently asked questions video. So just like that, that's what the PDF is. That's what it looks like. I hope this clarified some things. I'm sure it's going to bring up a few more questions for you guys. I tried to anticipate what your questions might be, but I don't know that I got them all. So leave me any more questions that you have about how to understand the PDF or something that I didn't clarify. Let me know. I'll see you in the next frequently asked questions video. Bye-bye!